Welcome back. Hope you're excited to do some stretching and mobility work with me. Today, really simple, we're gonna do one of my favorite types of routines, which is simply picking 3 movements. It could be a stretch, it could be a joint mobility exercise for various joints, and then just going through each joint 3 movements at a time. We're gonna begin with hips, doing 3 different things for our hips that I hope help you get out of your daily routine or sitting or help you recover from a workout or whatever it might be. Let's begin with some single leg Romanian deadlifts, okay, hip hinging. And when you hinge all the way over, I want you to reach one or both arms overhead. One arm's fine if your other hand needs to be holding onto something for help, okay? Take my back leg off the floor, gonna hinge, gonna bend over. Once you get to your end range, okay, give me a nice big reach, bring the hands back in as you reset. Leg off the floor, okay, number 2. Now if you can, you're gonna keep that floating leg off the floor for the duration of our set, okay, as we work on this hinging through what happens to be my right leg. Okay, obviously you can reset the leg down between reps if you need to. You could also keep the hands overhead for the entire repetition if you want. Optional. Let's do one more and then change legs. Okay, easy little reach. Come on up, other side. Just gonna challenge yourself if you can. You're gonna keep that floating foot off the floor for the duration of our set. We're gonna look for about 8 repetitions here, somewhere in that realm. One thing I like to focus on is that my floating foot is off the floor when I start the hinge. Because what that then requires is that my hinging side hip is doing the work versus what will happen sometimes is people will kind of fall into the rep. It looks like this. They start to bow with both feet on the floor and then they hinge. And then they start to maybe not get the full exercise when you add weight or change it because they're only selecting it in a certain range. But if you want to, take that leg off right away when you start. Hinge, big reach, left leg shaky. One more. Good. Okay, next movement we're gonna do for hips. Still kind of in the stretching continuum side of things. Let's do some horse squats, always wonderful. So spread out your feet, turn out your toes comfortably, nothing super far out but also not straight. And then keeping your spine as vertical as you can, you're gonna sit and squat straight down to a depth of your choice, okay? As we repeat about 10 here. Always looking to keep my hands a little bit out in front for balance, okay? Just makes them a little bit more comfortable. If it's helpful, think about keeping your knees stacked on top of your ankles and drive your knees backwards and out, okay? That'll help keep your hips open and avoid the knees collapsing inwards. Okay, a few more here, maybe about 4 or 5 more. Feeling that stretch to the hips, pulling knees backwards and out. Hands in front for balance as you need. And if you want to, you can pause a little bit more in the bottom position. I'm just popping right back out and coming up. But if you want to, spend a little bit more time down there. Okay, let's do one more. Good. Okay, our last movement, third for our hips, is still in kind of the stretching realm. We're doing all stretches for our lower body hips today. We're gonna do active pigeon. I'll show you from the front and then I'll show you from the side afterwards. Step your right leg in forward, in front and forward. Step your right leg forward, just like so. You can have fingertips on either side of the foot, knuckles, palms, okay? Now, if you just need to hang out here and stay here, that's all good. But if you're able, you're gonna roll out your ankle. You're gonna gently reach the knee outwards, 45 degrees. Bring it back in. And if that wasn't so bad, go to whatever, right? 60 degrees, 75 degrees, or if you can, try and get knee all the way to the ground. Okay, and that's from the front. From the side, you should be keeping on going now. Trying to keep that back knee off the floor. And keep the forward knee mostly bent. It's gonna try and keep the same degree of bentness as you rotate up and down. We're gonna do about 2 more. So we should be feeling a nice stretch somewhere through here, okay? Mostly through the hip and lateral leg, but if you feel it in the shin and a little bit on the outside of the ankle as well, that's okay. A little bit of a burn there is gonna be had. Other side, left leg forward, start with the knee on top of the ankle, hands wherever you want. And again, if you need to, you're just hanging out here. You're not worrying about the actual movement of the leg if that's a little bit too much. And then whether it's a lot or a little bit, that's number 2 for me. Giving me 8 more active pigeons, which are not easy. You can focus on keeping the knee really high off the floor, about 5 more. You can bend the back knee more like so. That'll be a little bit easier because there's not so much tension in my back hip now. But if that back knee is tight and taut, okay, that is working. Let's do 1 more. And up, and gently drop that back knee. Gonna have you go right to a seated position. Excuse me, as we transition into 3 movements now for our ankles. The first one I've done many times before can be a little bit intense if you're not careful, so don't go too hard on this. But you're gonna lay on your back, okay? 1 leg down and 1 leg up. We're gonna do an ankle rotation on our elevated leg, okay? Now, practice with me and recall our 4 main movements in our ankle. We have what we call ankle dorsiflexion, which is pulling your toes back and down towards your shin. Here we should feel some kind of stretch through there, and you're gonna feel working, okay, stress working on the shin, which is pulling you here, okay? If you do the opposite, it's called plantar flexion. You should now feel that stretch through there, okay? Pointing your toe to the ceiling. Keep your leg where it is, but reach your toes outwards, okay? Touch your pinky toe outwards. That's what we call eversion, okay? And then if you do the opposite, if you pull your big toe inwards, it's called inversion. So what we're gonna do is start in dorsiflexion, rotate outwards to eversion, around the corner to plantar flexion, inversion, and then just trying to make those 4 positions. Don't worry about the names. Just trying to hit all 4 positions smoothly 1 more time, blending the ranges together. You're gonna end in your dorsiflexion here, pulling the toes backwards, and then you're gonna reverse. One more rep all the way around. And then gently relax on out. So your shin and calf should be working quite a bit there. Other leg is up, start in your dorsiflexion. I'm gonna go outwards first with my toes, point, inwards, and repeat 2 more times. Back, out, point, in, 1 more. This ankle always is a little crackly for me, a little crunchy. Other way, in, point, outwards, down 2 more times. And last one. Good, okay. On up. So that was kind of like more on the joint and mobility side of things. Let's now move, to just like a standard stretch that I do quite often. Easy version of the stretch would be in a high lunge, and you're just gonna try and reach your forward knee in front of your toe, okay? Showing you from directly to the side, look like this. Just trying to get my knee tracking in forwards in front of my toe, okay? But a little bit more effective would be I would sit on my back leg like so, but my back foot, and I'm gonna wedge and press down on this forearm to get another centimeter or inch of this knee moving forwards, and also pressing down, okay? I've said it so many times, but we don't need to figure out 800 fancy different ways to move below the ankle. We gotta figure out what works. And usually there's just a few things that we gotta focus on and we'll get a lot of success from. So I do this one a lot because it's helpful and it works. I definitely recommend that you spend some time here. About 15 or 20 more seconds. A little bit more load would be taking my chest and loading it down and onto my leg, okay? It's gonna force my ankle more into this stretch. Hopefully I'm feeling it through here, okay? My calf, my Achilles a little bit, that's good. The heel's on the floor, it's not lifting. 3, 2, 1, other side. Quick little switch. Okay, hope this is comfortable. If this isn't comfortable to rest on this back leg, then do the first position I showed you, which is that high lunge position. Otherwise, you're loading with your forearm here, feeling that nice stretch in the back of the upward calf and ankle again. Heel is down, pushing forwards and down. the forearm, adding the chest if you want to. If you got like a kettlebell, you can even put a kettlebell on your knee. Don't grab 100 pounds, but maybe it's like a 25-pound kettlebell. That can help give you a good weighted stretch. A little bit more time here, and then we're gonna move to doing the opposite of what we're doing right now, which is called dorsiflexion. We're gonna work on some plantar flexion, which is a great thing to do, I would say, daily, what we're gonna do next. Because so much of our life, our ankles are spent in a neutral position, sitting, not really doing much. So let's expose them to a full range of motion. Dorsiflexion here, and now, some people call this saddle, okay? Legs behind the body. If you can, you're gonna pull your heels inwards. So heels in like this. If that's a little bit too intense, you just keep them a little bit more outwards like that. And then we're gonna sit backwards. And we're gonna hold this for 45 seconds. And try and not talk so much. And then we're gonna move to shoulders after this. Hit 3 things for shoulders. Take some nice deep breaths. Couple more seconds. Our next movement as we start our shoulder work, 3 simple movements for our shoulders, is called prone angel. Try and keep your feet down. There's a tendency for people to want to lift their feet off the floor when they do this. But as we move our shoulders in a position you're about to see, if you're not familiar with it, keep the feet down. I'm going to do 6 repetitions. That might give you time to do 5 quality reps if you watch the first one. So, I'm going to be lying on my stomach. Feet are on the floor, hands are in front of me, okay? I'm gonna keep my nose close to the floor, but right now I'm talking to the mic, so I'm gonna be kind of up. You guys want your nose very close to the floor. Lift your hands, slowly rotate them outwards to your sides, okay, facing outwards. Rotate the shoulders now that your palms are facing the ceiling. And you're gonna pull your arms close to your hips and rest your hands in your low back. So you're bending the elbows here. And then you're gonna reverse. Straighten your elbows. Rotate the hands so palms are down, reach overhead, and let's go right into a second rep without resting the hands on the floor when overhead. Bend the elbows, rest your hands on your lower back, extend, rotate palms to the floor, reach arms overhead, and again, 4 more. We're going to be finishing up the 4th rep here. On to 5, so hang on. Try not to go too much faster. Rotate palms to ceiling, pull arms to sides, bend elbows. Reverse. Last one here, reaching arms out to the sides. Rotate palms to the ceiling, pull hands to the sides, bend the elbows. And slowly, slowly come back to the center. That's a whole lot of work. That's a great one to do. Okay, our next one we're gonna do is gonna be a stretch. That was more on the joint mobility side of things. We're gonna do a stretch. It's called sleeper stretch. And I recommend that you quickly pause the video and grab something for your head to lay on here, okay? Pillow, foam roller, dog, okay, little stool. Because as you can see with me, I'm gonna rest my head on the air, and that's not super comfortable. Arms out here, legs are comfortably bent. I'm gonna bend my elbow, okay? My elbow's not high, it's not low, it's straight out from the body. And then gently, I'm just gonna pull my top hand in the direction of my top hip. This is important, okay? Some people wanna bring the palm to the floor like right here. You need to aim your palm to your hip, okay? That will create a much better feeling stretch that's not so harsh on the shoulder. We're gonna hold for just about 30 seconds per arm, nothing too excessive. Note that your shoulder blade, armpit, and shoulder, okay, all those 3 different things are on the floor, nothing is gapping. And just gently pressing palm towards top hip. It does not need to be anything super excessive. Okay, maybe we'll do a little bit more than 30 seconds because it feels good. But it should be like a soft stretch through here. Nothing super intense. And if you have any uncomfortable pinching the shoulder, just stop, grab some popcorn, okay, grab a drink of water, and just chill out until our next movement. Come on out. Other side. So we're doing a quick routine. Other side set up here, same parameters. If you wanted to get benefit of the sleeper stretch, I would hold this for 60 seconds and I would do 3 sets, okay? That's a good protocol to start to work on what we are doing here, which is internal rotation of your shoulder. We're just doing a little 30-second, 45-second wake up for the shoulder. But if you need some work here, you got to spend a little bit more time. Actually, you got to spend a lot more time in the position. A couple more seconds. Not overly pushing down, just enough to feel that opening angle stretch on the top and back of the shoulder. And relax out. Okay. Third and last thing for our shoulders today is going to be child's pose. I want you to be really conservative with where your hands are to start. And over time, I want you to creepy crawl your fingers out further and further and further, okay? And try and really extend the distance from your armpit to your fingertip. Try to make that as long as you can, which will increase the stretch in your low back, on your lats, on your triceps, and elsewhere, okay? After that, we're gonna finish it off with a couple spine thingies. So, looks like so. Hands are here, conservative. I'm not overreaching, not going too far. Should you look up and watch real quick. And then really slowly, just gonna lift the palms. Gonna kind of zigzag the hands back and forth. And just progressively reach them out overhead. And what you can even do is pause at a position for 5, 10, 15 seconds. Take your breath. And then try and get another centimeter or two. Pause there. Exhale, go a little bit further, and then pause. Let's do 2 more. Okay, we should be notably further out with our hands now than when we began. 1 more reach. 1 more creepy crawl. And gently, slowly start to come on up. Okay, moving to the spine. 3 things for our spine, and then we're done. Doing a little mobility just for the day. Let's start off with seated spinal stretch, okay? I like this one a lot. Some people overdo it, so this is not, that's not what this is for. This is just like an easy spine stretch. Take your left knee, put your left knee down on the floor, put your right foot here by your left shin, okay? Easier position, or across the knee, okay? This takes a lot more hip mobility. I'll leave that up to you. Left leg's on the floor, right hand comes behind my butt. It's gonna help keep me nice and tall. And then left elbow, now you're feeling that butt cheek if you're tighter, is gonna be across the knee, okay? And what I want you to do here is just breathe in, gently push on that knee with the elbow and look behind you. It doesn't need to be extreme, shouldn't be extreme. You're gonna breathe in, get a little bit more out of it, and just a couple more times. So I'm gently still pushing on that knee with the elbow, feeling a little butt stretch maybe. Breathe in, exhale, maybe I'm looking a little bit further back now. Last one. Cool, other side. Again, more flexible, less flexible. Doesn't mean you're bad or a better person, just what you gotta do depending on your circumstance. Elbow across the knee, and by the butt, get nice and tall with the head, tall chest. Exhale, start to look behind you conservatively, and then repeat. And then repeat. 2 or 3 more times. One more. Okay, next one looks a little funky. I think I've only done this once or twice in these online classes. I want you to sit in a cross-legged position. And in a moment here, you're just gonna fold over, okay? You're gonna bend over and just kind of reach the hands in front of you, very similar to the child's pose we did. You're not gonna pause, it's just gonna be hinging and bending over. And this is just challenging some spinal flexion, the ability to bend, coupled with the set position of where your hips are, okay? So just gonna gently bend over. Maybe it's hands, you don't go any lower than this. Maybe you walk them a little bit more, maybe get elbows on the floor, okay? That's it, nothing super long in terms of duration. Let's do 2 more. Just want you to walk out your hands to a position you feel comfortable to. If you want to touch your forehead, go for it. 1 more. And now 3 more reps, but switch the leg position because it does make quite a bit difference on the second side. This would be rep number 4. Already I can feel the side. Not quite as smooth for me, just a little bit more stickiness to get down. Last one, don't overdo it, a position you feel comfortable moving to. Fantastic. Last thing we're gonna do is simply some cobras. So if cobra or upward dog is challenging for you, just hold the stationary position, work on doing your best to extend your spine, not feeling pinching in the spine. You might be feeling a little bit of hip stretch. The reason why I say that is because the position of going up and down from cobra can take some strength upper body wise, and that's hard for some people. So once I come out of the bottom position and I'm at the top, and I'll say when, you can just hang out there if you need to. Otherwise, I want you to do a few reps with me down and up as we finish off. Okay? Looks like this. Hands are wide, okay? They're several inches out from my chest. They're not really close to my arms. And then I'm gonna try and keep my hips and quads against the floor as long as I can. And then eventually they might lift a little bit as I hit my up dog / cobra position, okay? Now, stay in that top position, hang out there, or with me, we're gonna do 4 more reps, taking your time up and down, okay? And try and make this a little bit of an upper body exercise. Give your spine a break, so push to the floor with your wrists, squeeze your triceps and shoulders as you press yourself up. 2 more. Lower with some control if you're doing the reps with me. Keep the hips close to the floor, okay? So I'm not popping up with the hips as best I can. 1 more. Cobra day definitely will keep the surgeon away, okay? Provided you're doing it well, provided you're ready for it. Excellent, excellent. Thanks for joining me today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again in the future.